You ever wonder why your AI assistant can't just remember everything you've ever said to it? I mean, it seems so simple, right? But for an AI, having a perfect lifelong memory that's also super fast is one of the biggest hurdles in the entire field. It's this fundamental trade-off that's forced developers to pick one: perfection or performance. But what if the solution to this problem has been right inside our own heads this whole time? Let's dive in.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we're going to break down this core memory dilemma that AI is facing. Then, we'll take a really cool lesson from the human brain itself. It's going to lead us to an amazing new solution called the Artificial Hippocampus. We'll check out the performance results, and then we'll wrap it all up with the big picture and what this means for, well, everything.
So let's get right to the heart of the problem. When an AI is trying to process a really long piece of information, think an entire book or a super long conversation, it has to store that context somewhere just to keep up. And right now, there are basically two ways of doing that. And honestly, each one has a huge catch.
And this is the fundamental question, isn't it? It forces this impossible choice. Do you want an AI that remembers every single tiny detail perfectly, but it's super slow and expensive to run? Or do you want one that's lightning fast, but yeah, it gets a little fuzzy on the details?
So you've got these two extremes. On one side, you have lossless memory, which you see in big models like transformers. Think of it like a perfect word-for-word transcript. It keeps absolutely everything, which is awesome for accuracy. But the longer the conversation goes, the bigger that transcript gets and the more power and memory it burns just to read through it all. On the other side, you've got compressed memory, like an older AHNs. This is more like a running summary. It keeps the memory size small and totally constant, which is super efficient. But, just like any summary, a lot of the little details get lost along the way. So we're stuck. We're caught between this slow but perfect model and a fast but fuzzy one. But here's the thing. It turns out there's a system that already figured out how to get the best of both worlds. And it's the one nature built for us, the human brain.
You see, our brain already has a type of lossless memory. We call it our short-term or working memory. It's kind of like a mental whiteboard, right? You use it to hold information you need right now, like a phone number you're about to dial. It's perfectly accurate, but as we all know, you can't hold much on that whiteboard and it fades really, really fast. And then, of course, there's our long-term memory. This is the brain's version of compressed memory. It's this massive, incredibly efficient archive of all our knowledge and experiences. But it's not a perfect recording, right? It's a compressed summary of the important stuff. So how does the brain get information from that high-detail whiteboard into the super-efficient archive?
Well, the answer is a small but incredibly powerful part of the brain called the hippocampus. It basically acts as the gatekeeper. It's constantly deciding what information from our short-term memory is important enough to be compressed and filed away into long-term memory. It's the crucial bridge that makes our entire amazing memory system work.
So, inspired by this little biological miracle, researchers have built a new module for AI. And you guessed it, they're calling it the Artificial Hippocampus Network, or AHN. It's designed to mimic the brain's brilliant two-part memory system.
Okay, so how does this thing actually work? It's really elegant. The AI keeps a sliding window of the most recent information, and that acts as its short-term memory. It's totally perfect, totally lossless. Now, as new info comes in, the oldest piece of data gets pushed out of that window. But, and this is the genius part, instead of just getting deleted, the artificial hippocampus instantly grabs it, compresses its essential meaning, and then weaves that summary into a fixed-size long-term memory. And just like that, you get the perfect accuracy of a lossless system for recent stuff with the amazing efficiency of a compressed one for everything else. It's literally the best of both worlds.
I mean, listen to how the researchers themselves put it. They call it the perfect hybrid, a high-fidelity memory for what's happening right now and a super-efficient, compact memory for everything that came before. The whole system is designed from the ground up to be both precise and scalable.
Now, this all sounds great in theory, but the proof is in the pudding. Does it actually work? Let's get to the data, because honestly, the results are pretty staggering.
First up, efficiency. This chart shows the computational cost. So the baseline model, using what's called full attention, that's our 100% mark. The exact same model, but with the artificial hippocampus added, needs less than 60% of that compute power. That's a massive 40.5% drop in the amount of number crunching it has to do.
Okay, that was already impressive, but check this out. When we look at the active memory it's using, the KV cache, the difference is even more wild. The standard model uses 100% of the memory. The AHN model, just 26%.
Let me just put a fine point on that.
That is a nearly 75% reduction in the active memory required to run this thing. That is an absolute game changer for getting powerful AI to run on hardware that isn't a supercomputer.
So it's way faster, it uses way less memory, but surely the performance takes a hit, right? There has to be a trade-off. Well, no, this is the craziest part. On a really tough test for understanding long documents, the AHN model doesn't just keep up with the baseline, it blows it out of the water. It's not just more efficient, it's actually smarter when it comes to understanding long-form context.
So let's just take a step back. We've got a system that is more efficient, needs way less memory, and performs better on complex tasks. Let's zoom out and think about what this kind of breakthrough really means for the future of AI.
The implications here are huge. This tech could pave the way for AI that can understand an entire medical history, or a massive code base, or even a lifetime of your conversations to be the perfect personal assistant. It also makes running these powerful models way cheaper, and because it's so efficient, it opens the door to running really smart AI directly on our phones without even needing to connect to the cloud.
Now, we have to be realistic here. As cool as this is, it's not magic. Just like our own long-term memory, that compression process isn't perfect, it's inherently lossy. And that creates one very specific weakness. Researchers have this test called needle in a haystack. It's where they hide one tiny specific fact deep inside a massive document and then ask the AI to find it. As you'd expect, the full attention model, with its perfect memory, finds that needle almost every single time. But the AHN model, because it compresses that old information, it struggles. It does about as well as a basic sliding window model. Once that needle has been compressed into the haystack of long-term memory, pulling it back out with perfect precision is really, really hard.
So, while it's not perfect yet, this artificial hippocampus is a massive leap forward. It proves that by looking to the brain for inspiration, we can solve some of AI's most fundamental problems. It gets us one giant step closer to AIs with truly long-term, useful memories. Which just leaves you wondering, what new things become possible when an AI can finally remember it all?